So guys, we got fantastic news. We just got deliveries, another month of over 20,000 deliveries. Absolutely doing fantastic. 21,181 to be exact, up 35.4% year over year compared to September of last year, and Q3 record number of deliveries at 61,855. So they've actually met their expectations of 61,000 deliveries. And the deliveries composes of 20,349 Neo vehicles plus 832 Envo vehicles. Now, I did say, hey, we're kind of expecting maybe 3,000 Envo vehicle deliveries, but that was kind of, being a bit too optimistic. But 832 in 3 days is still fantastic. So divide that by 3, that's like 277 vehicles per day. And if you multiply that by 30, that's equivalent to 8,319 vehicles a month. So at that delivery pace, they could get 8,000 Envo deliveries per month, which is absolutely nuts. Now, of course, NIO CEO has said that we should expect October deliveries are at around 5,000 for Envo, okay? And then by December, 10,000. And then by next year, January, February, that's when they're going to ramp up production up to 20,000 per month. So there's going to be a big jump. So deliveries are absolutely going to explode going forward. And we can expect very, very good results. And keep in mind that Q3 traditionally isn't really like the strongest quarter in the year. Q4 is the strongest quarter in terms of vehicle sales. And a lot of sales reps have been saying that a lot of their customers are waiting until the end of the year to buy their cars. So that is, of course, very, very bullish for Q4 numbers. And of course, on the subsidy front, of course, NIO isn't letting the incentives go away. They still have very good incentives. BAS policy, pay for a month, get 1 month free. It's still there. And on top of that, there's also the 20,000 EV subsidy. It's different from different cities, but in general, it's localized. It's a provincial subsidy. You get about 20,000 RMB off. And then if you have a trade-in, different cities have different trade-in policies. But in general, it's around 15,000 RMB, or roughly around 2,300 US dollars in trade-in. So if you trade your gasoline vehicle in 2.0 liters and above, you get that amount of subsidy. So quite a lot, actually. And on top of that, even for Envo vehicles, and this applies for Envo vehicles as well, they also have their own individual trade-in kind of subsidy, government subsidy. Like here in Beijing, if you get an Envo vehicle and you trade in your existing vehicle, it could be like any vehicle actually, not just gasoline vehicle, any vehicle, you trade it in to buy a new EV, then you actually get a nice subsidy of 15,000 RMB as well. So that's pretty nice. And of course, NIO is still offering the free bonus options of 15,000 RMB, so about $2,300 of free specs. You can spec up the car. Very, very nice. And we saw in my previous video how a lot of cars have been sold out. And indeed, the momentum, sales momentum is still strong, and it's going to get stronger in Q4 as well. And Envo vehicles, of course, a lot of people waiting for delivery of that vehicle, but NIO has promised, Envo has promised that everybody ordering this year will get their cars, and they solved different bottleneck issues with the factory, so they're able to ramp up production really, really fast and get those cars to customers. And it's very imperative that they deliver as soon as they can, because some people might end up losing patience, right? You ordered your car, you locked in your order, you want your car ASAP. So it's a good thing that they're doing everything they can to boost those delivery numbers. Now, in terms of the stock, of course, we saw yesterday's action. Man, we got a really nice push up, and then things started sort of, retracing, coming back a little. Of course, other stocks like Xpeng stock and those other Chinese stocks were negative. NIO was still positive, which was, of course, good on the bright side, but we lost most of those gains. And but to be honest, it's just a healthy pullback. The Chinese equities in general have been kind of going up ballistically, going to the moon essentially, and it's taking a breather, pulling back a little bit, but that does not change the overall picture of where things are headed. All right, it's just a pullback. Things are resetting, like the overbought readings are being reset. And now, if you look at the NEO chart, it's actually oversold on the shorter time frames, right? It's been oversold. So that just means that it's another great buying opportunity, in my personal opinion, if you haven't already done so, right? And my perspective for NEO stock is, I think, very soon, like this year, would be probably the last time you can get NEO stock in the single digits. All right, and then next year, starting next year, you're probably never gonna see NEO in the single digits ever again. It's gonna be double digits and beyond. So if you think about it, if deliveries maintain at 20,000, right, for NEO vehicles, and then you have on-road vehicles at 5,000 for October, then you're looking at potentially 25,000. Now that's going to be a record monthly delivery. And going forward in December, if you got 20,000 for NEO and then 10,000 for Onvo, then December you're looking at 30,000. So already before the end of this year, we could break the 30,000 monthly delivery barrier, which is absolutely crazy to think about. And that is, of course, assuming that NEO's deliveries don't actually go up, and it will actually go up. So you can actually, even possibly, all right, there's a possibility that December deliveries could be above 30,000, even reaching 40,000 deliveries, possibly, all right. Let's say NEO's deliveries for December 25,000, and then for Onvo you got 15,000. Then there you go. You got yourself you got yourself that number right there. And remember, when NEO said 5,000 for October, 10,000 for December, this was before they solved the bottleneck issues with the factory. All right, this was before that, and they had certain long wait times of up to 16 weeks, but they have since solved that problem. So that problem no longer exists. So that also means that 5,000 estimate and 10,000 in December is actually on the lower end, because after fixing it, that's going to be, of course, increased. People that are supposed to get their cars next year are going to get it this year. All right, so it's absolutely not going out on a far stretch to say that we could actually be looking at maybe 15,000 deliveries for Onvo in December, and add together with 25,000 for NEO, looking at 40,000 deliveries. Absolutely possible. All right, they're doing everything they can to solve those bottleneck issues. What is that going to do to the stock price when people see that in just 3 months' time that deliveries have essentially doubled, right, thanks to Onvo vehicles, right? That's going to absolutely just shock everybody. It's going to shock the shorts. And think about when the Firefly car launches next year, all right? Yeah. So next year around Q2, that's when they're going to launch the Firefly brand, start selling cars for the Firefly brand. That's going to add another like solid 5,000 to 10,000 deliveries per month, right? So we're looking at 50,000 deliveries possibly per month next year. That's going to be absolutely nuts. Yeah, absolutely nuts to think about. So these numbers in general are very, very good numbers, all right? Don't get discouraged by this at all. I mean, 277 vehicles per day, that's like 8,300 per month. Still very good, especially when considering they're just starting deliveries. And let's just hope that they can keep up the good momentum, and I'm very confident that they will. All right? So hit that like. Of course, if you want NEO stock to go to the moon, smash that like button. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.